Nice moon back there. Starting to wane. I guess it was full the night before last. Pretty nice. Nice misty morning here. Maybe we'll have a little fog rolling in here as I'm talking, who knows. I had a couple of, well, I had one thing I was going to make a video about today since I'm off work and chill out, make a video. And then I had a couple other thoughts that occurred to me. One of which is based on a comment that someone made on a video that I did. And the comment was that there's too many people out on YouTube telling you a bunch of BS, that if you actually compare like to like, it's just as expensive to live in another country as it is here in America. And that's actually a valid point in some ways, you know. If your only goal in moving overseas is just because you think that, okay, I can go over there and live really cheap, that's not really the best reason to go anyways, you know. There are places in America where you can live pretty cheap, you know. And if you're an American citizen, you know, especially if you're older, have Medicare and stuff, you're going to have access to doctors and stuff that you might not have as much in the Philippines. You know, but really, let's be serious. All these people who move overseas to make their money go farther, yeah, you've got people on YouTube who are just pumping up that idea to try and get views and make money off of their YouTube channel, you know. On the other hand, there's a lot of people that are going to other places because you can make your money stretch farther, you know. You know, when you talk about comparing like to like, even there you have to kind of define what you're talking about, you know. I mean, my wife and I, we built a house over there in the Philippines last year. Really tall, 2-story house. It's like 9 by 10 meters, you know. Roof deck up top with like a big concrete bar area and stuff. And for the quality of the construction, how heavy duty and everything it all is, there's absolutely no way in hell that we could have done it for the same price here in America. You know, maybe if you just paid for the materials and then you did all the work yourself, I don't know. But you know, I actually, I was out doing this one mail route a while back, and hadn't done this route for a while. I was doing part of another guy's route. Really wealthy area, and they had torn down this one really big house that used to be there on this one address. And I looked at this monstrosity that they were putting up. Huge, huge, huge house. And you look at the construction. I actually took a picture of it. You know, I should put it on this video. All this, it's all just wood, you know. Which is, I mean, the, you know, typical American construction method. But you look at this big, huge, gigantic house, and then to see it and realize that it's all just flimsy wood, you know, you can argue about how flimsy or whatever, that could go up in a heartbeat in a fire. And I thought, you know, why would somebody build that huge of a house like that with that kind of construction? But those people are probably paying $2, $3, $4 million for that house where it is, you know. Some people have pointed out that, like over there in BGC, places like that in the Philippines, you know, the one video I did, I was talking about how crazy it is to say that, you know, for someone to come back home broke when they supposedly being the key word, had $6,000 a month coming in. And someone pointed out, well, you know, you go to BGC and some of these places, you know, some of these places, they start at like 250,000 pesos a month. Well, yeah, there are places where you can be crazy, and if they're catering to super rich people, and if you go over there with $6,000 a month and you want to try to pretend that you're a millionaire, like some famous Filipino TV star, or like you've got money coming in like Vice Ganda or something, you're going to have problems, But no sane person with $6,000 is going to be trying to live in some condo where they're wasting $5,000 of it on a condo, So, let's be reasonable, It's like my wife and I, our nieces, and my wife's mom, we could all live there comfortably in that town where my wife is from. I mean, we could get by and have everything we needed probably for like $1,000 a month. That's not nearly what I would want to have to rely on, but easily, for sure, on $2,000 a month, we could live really, really well, $2,000 a month here in America right now, that's my rent, my car payment, and my car insurance, It's probably about $2,000 a month. You start adding in the phone bill, the electric, the cable, the streaming services, the cost of groceries and everything. And it very quickly adds up. And you start to realize that, just for what I'm spending on rent here in America, 5 of us could be living on it over there in the Philippines. Like I say, I'd rather have a lot more cushion than that. But when you talk about comparing like to like, what do you mean by that, Going into any other country, you're not going to find exactly the same comparable thing in a lot of ways. Obviously, if you buy a really nice car in the Philippines, it's going to be pretty expensive, It's going to be comparable to what you would spend on a really, really super cool car here in America. You go to Starbucks over there, you spend 350 pesos on a drink. That's just as much, if not more, as what you're going to spend here in America on it. I forget what the prices are. I saw the last time I looked up something on a Starbucks over there. But even when I was there before, last time, man, if you go hang out at Starbucks a couple times a day, you're spending even more in some of those places than you would be here in America, So obviously, if you tried to go hang out in a major city over there, and have a super cool place to live with all the amenities, or if you're trying to live in like a gated community or something, really super nice house. If you're eating at Fridays, Chili's, Vikings buffet and shit every day, you quickly go broke, all right? That's true. It's no different than over here if you try to spend your whole life, doing like that. The smartest people, obviously, just like here in America, they're not eating out 3 times a day at the most expensive restaurants they can find. If you have a family life and that kind of activity going on where your world is centered around something other than just spending money and eating, and doing, adventures, it doesn't have to be that expensive. You're probably going to be cooking a lot of meals at home. It's like when I move over there, we've got our nieces, who we probably are going to try and adopt at some point. We're basically taking care of them right now, their schooling and things. But that's what our life is going to be centered around, is our family. And as I've said before in a video I did, you talk about living in a small town versus a city. One of the things about being in a small town, I'm going to see if I can set my phone up here where I don't have to hold it. One of the nice things about being in a city, it's like here where I am near Orlando, you have everything you could possibly want, you know? Right down the road from hospitals, malls, all kinds of restaurants, grocery stores everywhere, every kind of place you can imagine to eat out or whatever. And all of the conveniences are there. And in a small town, it can be a lot more boring, especially if you're there on your own. If I was moving to the Philippines on my own, for sure, I would be living in a larger city. I wouldn't be living out in the provinces, you know, because I'm not the kind of person who can just do like some of these guys, just sit around in like a $60, $80, $100 a month apartment, just doing nothing all day and bitching about the roosters, you know? I can't live like that. So if I was moving over there on my own, I would be definitely in a larger city, somewhere around Cebu or Manila, where I could have access to all the things I want to do. And, you know, even if it's just go out, walk around the mall, whatever, go to Mall of Asia, hang out, you know, walk down the street, find a little place to get something to eat. You've got pretty much every activity you could want. But honestly, for me, it's about, you know, our family. It's the same thing when I was living out in this little town in Oklahoma where my brother still lives right now. Like 30 years ago, 35 years ago, when we were all out there, my brother's kids, when he was first having his kids, and my mom was still alive, you know, and my sister was out there, we had a ton of shit going on, even though it's a little town. All of our kids, you know, they were like involved in different things at school. My brother's girls were all doing dance and gymnastics, and I was kind of like their second dad. And my sister used to do a lot of stuff with them, and we would take them around to things and dance seminars and Tulsa and stuff, and go to their shows and things like that. And all of us were there together, and we had a very full family life. And for me personally, to live in a really small town, that's what I'd have to have. If you're not doing all those kind of things like that, where you've got family and friends around, I would quickly lose my mind just hanging out in some little town doing nothing. So for me, I'm not just moving to the Philippines because I think it's going to save me money, you know. If I hadn't got involved with someone over there in the Philippines, and that wasn't where my my family life is, you know, it would be a different story for me maybe. Whether I would actually move there or not, I don't know. Maybe I would just go rent a place in Manila or something once in a while, since I have kind of fallen in love with the Philippines and with that part of the world, you know, since I started spending time over there. And I feel really at home over there. I like it. And for me, it's more than just going over there to try and save money. And obviously, like I said in my one video, there are lots of other places in the world too, not just the Philippines, where you can go if you're looking for somewhere just like cheap to live and have a good, fulfilling life, where you can do it. I understand the point that guy's making in his one comment. Part of his comment, though, I think was just to try and, run down other people and make himself sound like the cool voice of, you know, worldly reason and stuff. Like, I'm the one who really knows the way it is, and don't listen to all these other people because they're full of shit. So I'll discount part of it for that. But on one level, though, it's a valid point. You can't just run off somewhere and think that you can just do whatever you want and your money's not going to run out. You still have to pay attention to what's going on. And all these people out there who are moving to other countries, though, and living on very reasonable amounts of money, they are not all just full of BS. you know? For sure, some of them are making these videos about how cheap they can live because they're running a YouTube business and they're trying to make money off their YouTube channel, you know? I mean, there's this one guy who has turned his life into a really good living. You know, he's man, I forget his name now. That Vagabond, I forget the exact name of the Vagabond Awake or something like that. And he and his wife, you know, they're making a really good living, selling people travel guides and doing all these YouTube videos everywhere. He posted one time how much money he's making from all that stuff. I forget exactly, but he's probably making 6 or 7 grand off of the business he's running by traveling around to all these different countries and showing how cheap you can live, you know? But he's making money doing it. So you have to take that for what it's worth. No one can tell you exactly how to live your life and exactly what you need to live on. But the idea that everywhere, no matter where you go, is going to be just as expensive as it is here is kind of crazy, you know? You talk about comparing like for like. That's not the reason people move to another country, so they can have what they have here in America. You know, people want to go and experience the local quality of life, the way things are done over there, doing it somewhere else. Everybody's not chasing, you know, the same kind of shit they are here in America. You live here in Florida, places like this, I mean, it's crazy, you know? People just everything is more and more and more expensive all the time. The price of housing keeps going up. Condo fees and all that. Now, since that one condo collapsed down there around Miami, it's going crazy, making people have reserve funds to take care of maintenance things for their condos. HOA fees going crazy, and insurance, if you can even get it, going crazy. To try and say that you're going to have all those same problems if you move to another country is kind of silly.